What's trucking like for you these days?
Well, all the fame and fortune, I can't hardly go down the road, people honking their horns at me, giving me thumbs up. No.
So, all jokes aside, Airgas driver Guy Archer, based in Dayton, Ohio, and whom you heard from there at the top, has come out of his big win last year in the Overdrive Radio Trucker Talent Search with renewed energy around his songwriting efforts. He's been more than tinkering around the edges of those efforts with some recording activity this year that we'll hear him detail in today's edition of the Overdrive Radio podcast for July 26, 2022. I'm Todd Dills, your host as usual for the podcast, and we'll drop back into Archer's tour around a variety of songwriter stages at the Mid-America Trucking Show this past March. There, Archer delighted a number of crowds who showed out to see our own long-haul Paul Marhoefer, among others, and Archer enjoyed a feature performance at the big Red Eye Radio stage in the main lobby, where he opened with, what else? His Trucker Talent Search winning Heavy Load track. Here's Archer describing an invite he got around Matt's that was too good to turn down in the wake of his Trucker Talent Search win.
So I was invited to the RoadPro Brands dinner, and that's when I decided, well, I think I need to go to the truck show. I haven't been here. Yeah, I haven't been here since '94. Yeah.
Wow, that's
I started driving in '92.
Yeah.
So at the time, it was exciting, and now it's a job. So, but because of this, and having the invite and stuff, it's like, well, I need to do it, and even though I'm not real up to being up on stage and out in front of people, I got to get some exposure. So.
Red House 3 a.m. Coffee to the brim. Road's calling me back once again. Trying to be a family man, doing all I can. Takes a special kind of love to understand. Carry a heavy load from the east to the west coast. An office with a view and air I'd see. Honey, when you coming home, really just don't know. Trucker's life sure carries a heavy load. From Detroit, Rock City, to the Boston city limits, Seattle down. I can't Beastie Boys in Atlanta. Might check the Smoky Bill, time to two. I guess some of my childhood dreams have come true. Oh, I carry a heavy load, New York to Chicago, chasing white lines to make ends meet. Daddy, when you coming home, baby, I just don't know. Trucker's life sure carries a heavy load.
I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound to me like a man who's not up for being on stage, eh? I spoke further with Archer about that and his recent recording work at Matt's. Here's the results, and along the way we'll hear much more from the songwriter in terms of his music. Hope you enjoy. But you've also been just on a round of doing some more recordings since the session in Nashville, right? Tell me about how you've been doing that.
Yeah.
And what it's been like.
After I won the contest, and my mom and my brother, they went on halves, and they got me a Mac Mini computer. Okay. I was using a hard disk recorder, and I had XP. On my Windows software, which was ancient and creeping. It was totally. Like 2001 or something like that when I bought it, so I wasn't even using it, so this opened up the doorway and stuff. Just use the software that's on an Apple computer. It's actually very good. It's free, and it's already on there. It's on your phone if you have an Apple phone, sure. Right? GarageBand's right there. So that's all I'm using is that. And so as I'm writing songs, I don't have a lot of time, hence I'm a driver too, but I'm able to lay it down pretty quick and stuff, you know. So on the long way around, it's a piano-based song, but I usually write a chorus first. That's what usually comes to mind.
Okay.
So I got to thinking about like when I was in high school and stuff, you know, and hanging out with your buddies and hanging out at people's houses, heading out in the car, you know, you got no place to go, heading out driving around. And we're talking 87, 88, 89, so you had the hair bands and all that kind of stuff, of course, you know. Like the first Boston album, I was in the rotation with everybody because the third stage, when they came out with it, was like 86 or 87. So it was on everybody's radar to listen to Boston again, you know. So we always had that on. So in each of the choruses, I use a title to a song, right? And in all three choruses, I had to bring it together and stuff. And after I got done doing it on the piano, I'm like, well, how do I make it kind of sound a little more Boston too, you know? And I'm not a good guitar player, but so I've been watching a lot of stuff on like Tom Schultz and how he came up with his ideas and how he came up with his sound and stuff, you know, like Boston, because at the time it was so unique. And so one of the easiest things, and everybody does this now, is you record your guitar parts over and over and over again. You pan left, pan right, you know, pan in some, you know.
Right.
Have one in the center, have all the levels different. You never really play it the same way twice, right? So even though it's the same thing, it's going to sound just a little different on each take. And you mix all those together. And all of a sudden, if you listen to that song, and I come in with the guitar, it kind of sounds like Amanda off a third stage, right? It has that kind of a, you know, ding, ding. Well,
Yeah.
If you're into Boston, you're going to catch on to that sound like, wow,
Yeah.
you know. Well then, so I don't play lead guitar, right, because I don't play guitar. But on my Korg Triton, it's a keyboard, it has a sound on there that's kind of like a lead guitar. I mean, it's very close. And so in the GarageBand, and all the processors that are in it, you know. I use the phasers and all that kind of stuff, you know, and I use that in the background as like a little underlying melody that's in the back, in the bridge and the ending chorus, and I think I got it, you know, pretty close. So yeah. So after I did that, I'm like, well, this actually needs like a video.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, I've got a Mac Mini now, right? You know, so I'm just using my phone, and I just headed around my hometown and headed by a friend's house, headed by my own house, headed by another friend's house toward the end. It was like a party hangout. Like everybody went there every Friday, Saturday, that sort of thing.
Memories come and memories go, fading out like a melting snow when winter turns to spring. Old memories start to fade away. Sometimes when I'm in town, I drive the long way around, the one that takes me by your old house, and imagine you there, that long blonde hair, Boston blowing them speakers out. It was more than a feeling when you were old mine. Sometimes when I'm in town, I drive a long way around.
If you listen to lyrics, like it's
kind of a universal.
Yeah, anybody can relate to it. You know, like everybody's gone home. If you don't live in your hometown, or even if you do, like you're gonna head by the places you hung out at at some point.
Yeah.
And just have a look around, and you got the memories go through your head and stuff. So that's what it's about.
The one that takes you by my old house, and imagine me there, waiting on the stairs. Peace of mind on the stereo, driving around with no place to go. Do you ever come to town? Drive the long way around. Spring turns to summer, and then to fall. The years pile up the lessons.
You've done some other stuff too, though, right?
Yeah, In the Dust. I was the last one that I wrote the whole way through, and I was actually writing the chorus in Nashville as I was doing the recording and stuff. So Jay had me stay an extra day for 2.5 hours. I had to do the vocals and stuff because he wanted to get the other tracks done.
So that was a reference to Archer's recording session in Nashville at Jay's place with producer, engineer Jay Vernally.
So I'm on the back porch, having to wait for him. I had to get ready and stuff, So had my guitar out, had my lyrics on my phone, and started writing all the choruses that are in that song. And I didn't have the picking part of it yet, and I don't know why I do this to myself because I can't really pick well. So here at the show, I've got to pick out these songs and stuff, But in GarageBand, right, it has a way there that when you play a rhythm, like you can hook it up to where it's able to read that, and it'll lay down drums that hopefully match up to what you're doing, right? And
you can probably tweak those.
If you don't like this style, you can change it to this, right? And you can make it a lot louder, a lot softer, like a whole bunch of fills and all that kind of stuff, So I started doing that, and it just started coming to life,
Cool.
And this is one of my few songs I have that isn't serious. It's just a joke.
Okay. What's the?
So in my head, it's about a guy and a girl that head out to the lake, right? He's got it set up for a hot date out by the lake. He's been out there before, but this girl doesn't know it. He has a list of names, and they're all checked off, right? Except for 2, right? So that's not really in the lyrics, but what's in the lyrics is everything was going so great until I called her by the wrong name, right? And she leaves him in the dust, right? So it's just a fun song, right? And it has a good beat to it and stuff, and it's a little catchy, I think,
But it was red taillights and exhaust on my face, and that should put me in my place. In the dust. Slammed the truck in gear and mashing that gas, and that should left me flat on my back. In the dust. She left me in the dust. Everything was going so great till I called her by the wrong name.
So after I did that, I got a guy at work who's like my biggest fan. Like ever since he heard about me entering this contest, he's like, "Dude, you're gonna win."
Is another driver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name's Robbie Hanna.
Okay.
So
Shout out to Robbie. Hanna.
yeah, sure. Airgas USA out of Dayton, Ohio. So yeah, he is my biggest fan there at work, I think. But I asked him, I'm like, I'm gonna make a video of this. Like, you and your wife want to play the parts,
Right.
He's like, absolutely, right? So he lives in Indiana, and he's over there pretty close to a lake that's over there, right?
Okay.
So I headed over there on his day off, and we filmed it by the lake there. And It's horrible acting. That just makes it better, right? Because it is supposed to be serious, right? I mean, I had to lip sync in it, and it's just terrible. And I don't care because it's fun, you know. So, and the video takes we did and stuff, you know, like he always has this, always has a piece of paper with him that's got all these names on it, you know. He's holding it behind her back and stuff, you know. He's like, oh, who am I with today? Right? He picks the wrong one, and she knocks him down and stuff. And they argue, heading back to the pickup truck. And she kicks over his cooler, right? How they're root beers, right? That's also a part of the joke. But the ending chorus at the last line is she steals his last beer, right? And he can't understand this. Like, how come she's leaving? How could you take my last beer? That's so cruel, right? He's just an idiot, right? So that's in the video and stuff, you know, where she knocks him down again, hits him with the note first, I think, you know, and then he's over by the cooler behind the pickup truck. She starts to get in, heads back over, has his hand is heading over to get that last beer, and she swipes it, right? Hops in the truck, puts it in gear, and with the weather being the way it is, there's no dust, but it does chew up a little bit of grass and mud and almost hits him, which is great, right? And then he rolls over, acts like he's got a mouthful of exhaust and stuff like that, you know. So I got that scene going on where he's like, you know, and
slapstick.
Yeah.
Comedy here, right?
And then one of the ending scenes is I'm hitchhiking out of there, right? And here she comes out of this parking area, and she picks me up. So I hop in, right? And then you see the note. It's out in the grass, and you see all the names, and there's a reference to an 80s hit song, 8675309.
Yeah,
right. So just before the ending scenes, he grabs hold of that note as he's laying on the ground. He marks her name off, and he starts dialing Jenny. So, and then the note, it's on the grass, and it's actually perfect the way it worked. Like within 5 seconds, I got hit by a little bit of a breeze, and it's like a Forrest Gump scene with the feather, you know. Right. So it absolutely worked out great. So.
Why'd she have to let me go?
I'm on YouTube, and as you can see, all the new stuff I'm doing, all my demos that I did that I sent down to Jay, you know, let him know, you know, what I'm doing, and did the chord chart to it. And I've also got in there a whole bunch of video from in the studio as everything was being recorded. There's an interview with you and Chris.
That would be Chris Lutzinger. I shared most of what Chris had to say about his long career and previous coverage of that session. You can find at overdriveonline.com. Search Guy Archer there.
If anybody wants to see like the behind the scenes stuff, you know,
I definitely point people to that.
yeah, I've got it there on my YouTube, and I'm just having a good time with it, and, you know.
What's trucking like for you these days?
Well, all the fame and fortune, I can't hardly go down the road, you know. People honking their horns at me, giving me a thumbs up. No.
Still doing the same stuff?
Yeah. I still work for Airgas.
Doing those kind of late night runs and
Yep.
stuff?
Yep. I'd rather do that to stay out of traffic and stuff. And a lot of our customers at night, like, you don't have to get your paperwork signed and stuff. You just,
we talked about that.
there's a tube on the fence, throw it in.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the highways are dead.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Yep. So.
Finally, here's a big thanks to Guy Archer for the time. And to take us out through to the end, I hope you'll enjoy his solo performance at the Red Eye Radio stage at the Mid-America Trucking Show this past March. I know I did. You can catch more from him via the Overdrive Radio edition from December 10th, 2021. Find it via overdriveonline.com/overdrive-radio. Find a link in the show notes for this podcast.
Text on my cell phone. Man, times have changed, but one thing remains true. Carry a heavy load wherever this road will go. Lines on my face, way too soon. Papa, when you coming home, really, it won't be too long. Trucker's life sure is taking a toll. Yeah, this trucker's life sure carries a heavy load. All right, thank you, everybody. Well, this next song I wrote is about a blue-eyed girl, and my wife's, her eyes are brown, so I don't know if she likes the song or not. I'm sure she does, but it's called Blue-Eyed Girl. All is in the lead, too young, too dumb, too blind to see this world, the future, memory. In my mind, I'm a young boy, turned to a man. Lump in my throat, heart in my hands. Standing on your front porch, teasing my eyes, wishing you would take away the last goodbye. Time marches on without a care in the world, just leaves me thinking about blue-eyed girl. So I packed up my things, headed out west, put my mind at ease, give my heart some rest. But you keep coming at me in my dreams. Blue-eyed girl won't let me be. Too young, too dumb, trying to see this world as a future memory. Marches on without a care in the world, just leaves me thinking about blue-eyed girl. Thank you. This one's called Long Dirt Road. I've never been on a long dirt road with anyone. I'm gonna do one more. It's a little long way around. Memories come and memories go, fading out like melting snow. When winter turns to spring, memories start to fade away. Sometimes when I'm in town, I drive the long way around, the one that takes me by your old house, and imagine you there, long blonde hair, boss speakers out. It's more than a feeling when you were on mine. Sometimes when I'm in town, like a long way round. Is that you saw in your old Chevrolet? Driving through town just the other day, was the sun in my eyes, reflecting off the back of my mind. You ever come to town and drive the long way around?
Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the acoustic guitar and other support of trucker songwriter and Overdrive contributor Long Haul Paul Marhoefer. The podcast is backed up further by our own news editor Matt Cole, social media coordinator Holly Young, and executive editor Alex Lockey. We'll see you next time.
Spring to summer, and then before, he's piled up the less than I recall. Parts of those years stay frozen right here. Sometimes they melt and look like tears. Sometimes when I'm in town, I take the long way around, drive by all the old hangouts and remember being there. Didn't have a care. Don't look back is what they say. Can't relieve